Being 7 o'clock, we'll call the meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Mayor Bosphus.
Here.
Commissioner Bauer.
Here.
Commissioner Gage.
Here.
Commissioner Gary.
Here.
Commissioner Lynn.
Here.
Commissioner Twardy. Here.
Okay, we're all here. Please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. If those with cell phones in the room, if they'd like to silence them or put them on vibrate, we would appreciate it. Thank you. Item number 1 is the first quarter Customer Service Award. And to present that is our City Manager, Oliver Turner.
Good evening, Mayor, Commission, and community. If I could at this time, please have Deputy City Clerk Jen Nelson join me at the podium. I'm very pleased to be able to discuss the first quarter Customer Service Citizen Service Award. And as the Commission is aware, at its January 18th, 2016 regular meeting, the Sault Ste. Marie City Commission adopted a citizen service philosophy. This service philosophy calls on all employees to take ownership in being positive ambassadors for the city government and the community, to be mindful that first impressions or chance encounters can define the identity of the city, and even encourage guests or others to move to or invest in the community, and to strive for excellence in service standards. This service philosophy also states that an emphasis is to be placed on teamwork, a commitment to coworkers, and a prudent management of community resources. At the time of the adoption of this philosophy, the City Commission requested that City Administration develop a means to publicly thank and recognize those employees whose actions reflect and embody the citizen service philosophy. Accordingly, City Administration has developed a process whereby employees are nominated by their peers for excellence in service. These nominations are reviewed by an internal committee that meets quarterly, which forwards its recommendations to the City Manager for approval. I'm pleased to announce that Deputy City Clerk Jen Nelson has earned the Exemplary Citizen Service Award for the first quarter of 2017. In the position of Deputy City Clerk, Jen exercises constant diligence and integrity. Jen has been with the City of Sault Ste. Marie since August 30th, 2013, and has served as the Deputy Clerk since June 16th, 2014, prior to which time she served as the Clerk and Fire Office Coordinator for the City. Jen's duties involve engaging with the public, election administration, filling in for the City Clerk, and managing the City's fleet of vehicles. Additionally, Jen has taken an active and expanded role in engaging with the public through the maintenance of the city's Facebook page, and has a strong talent for creating high-quality PowerPoint and other graphic materials. She recognizes the importance of excellence in service delivery, and I'm pleased to recognize Jen for this award and thank her for her commitment to the city. And this is an award that is signed by myself and Mayor Bosphus, and just would like to congratulate you for your service and commitment. Thank you, Jen.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Want a quick picture? Want to stand? See if we can get one over here. Grab the shirt.
Just give me a city commissioner one day.
Yeah. Great.
Oliver's head is blocking up Bill's head.
That's it.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Is that good?
Thanks.
Okay.
And certainly on behalf of the commission, we commend Jen for the work that she continues to do. Thank you very much. Item number 2 is the Police 2016 awards and recognitions. I'd like to call up Chief John Riley.
We don't have a youngin with us, so we're not as cute. Mayor and Commission, I'd like to thank you. I believe this is our 5th year
Yes.
for the police awards. We have 1 officer and I believe 5 civilians that will be receiving awards tonight. Unfortunately, a good chunk of them aren't able to make it. Our first one is a Civilian Life-Saving Award for Stephen and Margaret Woodcock and Abigail Michalowski. Is Abigail here? I haven't heard from Abigail, but the Woodcocks live downstate. They come up here for vacations in the summer, and they happen to be up here during this incident, but I'll go ahead and read the proclamation here, and I'll mail the certificate down to them.
Okay.
As soon as I put my eyeballs on. On July 7, 2016, a windsurfer on the upper St. Mary's River fell from his board and became entangled in a sail and the ropes. Unable to free himself, he began calling for help. Abby Michalowski heard the yells and called 911. Stephen and Margaret Woodcock, also hearing the yells, used a neighbor's boat and headed for the victim. Upon reaching him, the Woodcocks freed the victim from the sail and pulled him from the water. They returned him to the shore where he was attended by EMS personnel. If not for the quick thinking and actions of the Woodcocks and Miss Michalowski, the surfer may not have survived the ordeal. On behalf of the City of Sault Ste. Marie, I would like to thank Stephen and Margaret Woodcock and Abigail Michalowski for their actions in saving the life of another who was in a life-threatening situation. I am proud to present Mr. Stephen Woodcock, Mrs. Margaret Woodcock, and Abigail Michalowski with the Sault Ste. Marie Police Department's Civilian Citation for Life-Saving.
Okay, excellent.
For the second award, goes to 1 officer, Officer John Wiest, who had a prior commitment and could not make it this evening, but I would like to call up Steve Crosset. Did I pronounce that right, Steve? Crosset? Okay. Right here, Steve. In 2015, Officer Wiest became aware of a 67-year-old U.S. Navy veteran living within the city that was in need of assistance. The gentleman was living with his disabled wife and disabled adult son in a mobile home with broken water pipes and no running water. Several attempts were made to secure any type of assistance from various charitable organizations and the Veterans Administration of Michigan with no success. Officer Wiest began working with Steve Crosset, a resource specialist for the veteran families from the Community Action Center. After only a few weeks, the two were able to secure suitable housing and other assistance desperately needed by the family. Without the assistance provided by Mr. Crosset, it is unlikely that this family would have received the help that they needed. On behalf of the City of Sault Ste. Marie, I would like to thank Stephen Crosset for his continued assistance to this community, particularly to one that has served his nation through military service. I am proud to present Mr. Crosset with the Sault Ste. Marie Police Department's Certificate of Appreciation.
Thank you. Good job.
Next, I'd like to call up Betsy Huggett. This is a long one. Since 1979, the Diane Pepperly Resource Center has been providing aid and support to victims of domestic violence and sexual assault in Chippewa, Mackinac, and Luce counties. In September 2014, Betsy Huggett was appointed the executive director of the center. The Sault Ste. Marie Police Department not only recognizes individuals for their actions at a specific incident, we also acknowledge those that over a period of time have shown such dedication to the community through cooperation with law enforcement as to stand above all others. Betsy Huggett is such a person. Betsy has been instrumental in gathering together assistance agencies, law enforcement, community leaders, and social groups to help those that have been victims of domestic violence and sexual assault. Where law enforcement is assigned with the task of bringing offenders to justice, this is just one part in resolving these type of offenses. The needs of the victim must be addressed in order to overcome the trauma that undoubtedly follows these assaults. That is where law enforcement relies on the skill and the trained personnel of the Pepler Center under the leadership of Betsy Huggett. Over the past few years, the Sault Ste. Marie Police Department has benefited from the Pepler Center by receiving vital equipment such as cameras and recorders provided to it through the STOP grant facilitated by Betsy. These items have proven to be useful in evidence collection and prosecutions, but normally would not have been purchased by the department. On behalf of the City of Sault Ste. Marie, I'd like to thank Betsy for her continued support for the community and the police department through the Diane Pepler Center. For her work, I am honored to present Betsy Huggett with the Sault Ste. Marie Police Department's Civilian Commendation. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you very much, Chief, and certainly on behalf of the Commission, we'd also like to congratulate those recipients. Thank you for the work that you do and continue to do in this community. Thank you. Okay, item number 3, public comment on scheduled agenda items. Any person may reserve time to speak on an agenda item not to exceed 3 minutes per person. Is there anyone in the audience that'd like to speak on an agenda item? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to item number 4, the consent agenda. Yes.
Under the consent agenda, A, minute approval. 1, approval of the minutes of the regular City Commission meeting of April 17, 2017, the budget work session of April 18, 2017, and the special meeting of April 25, 2017. Recommended action is to approve the minutes of the regular City Commission meeting of April 17th, the budget work session of April 18th, and the special meeting of April 25th. Item 2, acceptance of the minutes of the following boards and commissions. A, Police Fire Pension Board of January 18th. B, Police Fire Pension Board of February 8th. And C, Police Fire Pension Board of March 15th. Recommended action is to accept the minutes of the various boards and commissions. Item B, appointments and resignations. 1, reappointment to the Planning Commission. Recommended action, confirm the mayor's reappointment of Derek Knight, Wendy Hoffman, and Rebecca Boland to the Planning Commission for terms to expire April 19, 2020. Item C, communications. 1, from the Airport Advisory Board, approval of Airport Advisory Board bylaws. Recommended action is to approve the Airport Advisory Board bylaws as presented. Item 2, from Community Action Human Resource Authority, MDOT Project Authorization 2017-0124/P1/R1. Recommended action is to authorize the city manager and city clerk to execute MDOT Project Authorization 2017-0124/P1/R1 fiscal year 2017, Section 5311, Operating Formula Grants for Rural Areas Program. Item 3 under communications is from Michigan Liquor Control Commission. It's a transfer of ownership from the 2016 Class C and SDM license for Baroche Restaurants, Inc., located at 329 West Portage Avenue here in the Sioux. The recommended action is there's no action required by the Commission as it's an informational item only.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there a commissioner who'd like something further explained on the consent agenda? Commissioner Tuardi.
Thank you. I just had a question.
Sure.
Who is Baroche Restaurants Incorporated?
That's the
Commissioner Gage.
Sorry.
City manager?
Thank you for that question, Commissioner. I do understand it's the Lockview Restaurant.
Oh,
Under,
okay.
under new ownership.
Okay.
Dennis Borsch.
Okay. All right, great. Thank you.
Anyone else? Commissioner Gage.
So move approval of the consent agenda.
Support.
It's been moved, supported. Are there any questions? roll call, please.
Mayor Bosmas?
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer?
Yes.
Commissioner Gage?
Yes.
Commissioner Gary?
Yes.
Commissioner Lynn?
Yes.
Commissioner Twardy?
Yes.
Motion carried, thank you.
Item 5, special orders of business. A, acceptance of the resignation of Commissioner Osterhout.
Okay, thank you. City Manager Turner.
Thank you, Mayor Bospas. As commissioners and the community are aware, Commissioner Brent Osterhout submitted his resignation during the April 17th regular meeting of the City Commission. Section 5.7 of the City of Sault Ste. Marie Charter pertaining to the filling of vacancies in the offices of Mayor and Commissioner states the following in pertinent part. Under Section A, except as provided in other paragraphs of the section, vacancies in the offices of Mayor and Commissioner shall within 30 days be filled for the unexpired term of the officer whose office has become vacant by appointment by a majority of the members of the Commission then in office of a person possessing the qualifications for the office. In pertinent part under Section B, Section 5.7 also states that if any vacancy in the office of Mayor or Commissioner is not so filled within said 30 days after such vacancy occurs, such vacancies shall be filled for the respective unexpired terms at a special election. Such special election shall be called by the City Clerk within 10 days or after the expiration of the said 30-day period, as the case may be. The special election will be held not less than 40 days nor more than 60 days after the date upon which it is called. As commissioners are also aware, City Attorney Canello has advised that the 30-day period of time within which an appointment could be made would begin at the time at which the resignation from Commissioner Osterhout is accepted by the City Commission. Accordingly, the acceptance of this resignation at the May 1st regular meeting or this meeting means that the window of time would extend to May 31st. As a reminder, it should be noted that at the April 17th regular meeting of the City Commission, the Commission unanimously voted to accept applications from interested individuals who may wish to fill the vacant seat that would be created by the resignation of Commissioner Osterhout. Applications from interested and qualified individuals are to be submitted to the City Clerk's office by 5 p.m. on Friday, May 5th. In response to a request made by Mayor Bospas, City Administration also has compiled information regarding actions that have been taken by the City in the past whenever vacancies in the office of City Commissioner have arisen. The actions taken include, on April 4th, 2015, the appointment of Commissioner Gage to fill a vacant seat. On October 10th, 2006, the appointment of Commissioner Lynn to fill a vacant seat. On April 23rd, 2001, the appointment of former Commissioner Bowden to fill a vacant seat. And then on June 28th, 1999, Mr. Frank King became a City Commissioner through a special election. And on February 15th, 1999, Mr. Dale Hornstra became a City Commissioner through a special election. Finally, as a note, Commissioner Osterhout currently served on the Community Improvement Committee, formerly the Blight Committee, the Ad Hoc Committee supporting the development of a form-based code, the Planning Commission, the Historical Development Commission, and on the Chippewa County Liaison Board. Accordingly, at this time, the City Commission is able to take action on accepting the resignation submitted by Commissioner Osterhout and can determine and or finalize the process through which the vacancy will be filled. Thank you, Mayor and Commission.
Okay, thank you. So at this point, we'd have a motion. We can then maybe discuss what we would like to do. Commissioner Lynn.
So move with city manager's recommendation.
Support.
Okay, discussion. As of, I think, 5 o'clock this afternoon, I believe we had 11 applications.
That is
Manager?
correct, Mayor.
And I also understand that the commission, I believe, would like to have, because of the, as we understand it, that 2 years and 6 months appointment is probably the longest appointment that going forward that I can remember. And due to that, the fact that it is a long appointment, the commission, I think, would like to see maybe interviews conducted along with the application process. In doing that, I'd like to at least throw out the idea that it may take a couple of nights or a couple of late afternoons into the nighttime period to go through, maybe giving each applicant up to a half hour. They may not take that long, but that would give us maybe over a 2-night period, which wouldn't take just several hours. We could get through the process, and then maybe a special meeting after that, but I'd like to see how the rest of the commission, Commissioner Lynn, we'll start with you.
That's fine with me. If you want to take a shortcut and draw straws, the longest straw wins, that would be a shortcut to the process. But yeah, I agree with the mayor that we should have interviews.
Commissioner Tuarte?
Yeah, I agree also. Just because there's so many people that are coming forward, and even though some other people in the community may know some of these individuals, we may not. And so I think that everybody should have a level playing field. I don't know if we want to do at that point, if we want to, each of us get a question we want to ask, if we want to have preset questions. Those are a few things we could discuss. And then just as a note, I won't be here probably the week of the 22nd of May. So I'm not sure if we're thinking about starting this next week or the following week.
I guess we would know by the 5th. I was thinking of a special meeting, yes, a special meeting on the 8th as a work session. And Commissioner Gary shaking his head, no?
I'm gone all week.
You're gone all week. I don't have a
next week
calendar
you're
in
gone?
front of me.
Okay.
What's the following Monday we meet in session on the
The
15th?
15th.
How does that week look for folks?
That's open for me.
Relatively good.
Everybody's open?
Good for me.
Sounds good.
This may be the Tuesday, Thursday night of that, maybe at 4 o'clock in the afternoon work for everyone?
Yeah, there's probably I have a feeling it might be more than 11. You might
Yeah.
By the time
go
that-
for a
yeah.
couple of days.
5 more days, yeah.
Yes. But want to tentatively plan Tuesday, Thursday, and then we kind of go from there. And we won't really know until we see all the applications, but we can talk about that the next meeting on the 15th and look for that week too. Does a late afternoon meeting work for everyone, or you want to meet early?
I
Or
would
at
prefer
7?
earlier, personally. Earlier or even later, but not,
Okay.
late
Not-
afternoon.
Not late afternoon?
Prime beer drinking time.
Man's gotta work.
Yeah, Commissioner Gary? Did you have?
And then
Right.
Commissioner Tuarte will be gone the following week, so we would have to conclude it
That week?
that week,
Okay,
right?
yes.
So then,
We could do 7 o'clock at night and go from 7 to 9:30, a couple of days, and see how that works.
That works for me.
Works for me.
On, shaking everybody, shake.
That works for me.
Commissioner Gage?
The only thing too, and I want to make sure that we're all on the same page, is I think that we have to interview every single one of them and give them all that chance too. No
Yes.
matter, yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
As long as
That's
they meet the
idea.
qualifications.
Yeah,
Very good.
okay.
so.
Commissioner
one-
Tuarte?
Thank you. One more question then. Would we then appoint at the May 15th meeting if we can all?
No, we're not going to meet until after the May 15th. meeting.
Oh, okay, that's right. We're meeting on the 16th
So
and
we
the
may need a
18th, so
special
we'll have to
meeting
hold a
complete
special
the-
meeting.
We may need a special meeting that
For the
that
appointment.
month, this month, May.
Okay.
Or you could wait for the first meeting in June, actually.
That would
It's
be,
a month from now.
that'd be longer than 30 days. City Attorney?
City attorney?
That's correct, that is longer than 30 days.
So we'd have to do a special meeting in May to
Yeah.
consider an appointment at that point.
Okay.
So that's what the timetable will look like. At least on the 15th, we'll meet in regular session, and then that week we will meet with candidates at 7 o'clock Tuesday, possibly Tuesday, Thursday, and if we get enough, maybe we meet Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Right.
Okay.
I
Yeah, Commissioner Gage.
I had a question for the city attorney. Are we able to schedule a regular meeting when we're not in session, or do we have to schedule a special meeting at a regular meeting?
City Attorney.
You can schedule it whenever you want.
Okay.
Any other comments or questions going forward? Commissioner Tuarte.
Did we kind of decide on how were we going to conduct the interviews? Are we each going to come up with one question? Are we going to have a preset?
I think we go around the room and ask a question. Each of us have at least one, and then if an individual commissioner would like to have another question. But I would think in a half hour, it should move along fairly quick. And Commissioner Barr?
No, I'm in agreement.
Okay.
I think that each candidate is going to provoke a completely different set of questions.
Probably.
It could.
Yeah.
And we'll have the information from the candidates at that point to review, and we'll have in front of us. Okay. Any other questions or comments? And we've got a motion to accept the resignation of Commissioner Osterhout. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Bauer,
Yes.
Commissioner Gage,
Yes.
Commissioner Gary,
Yes.
Commissioner Lynn,
Yes.
Commissioner Twardy,
Yes.
Mayor Boswis.
Yes. Motion carried. Thank you.
Item B under special orders of business is introduction of proposed budget for fiscal year beginning July 1, 2017 and ending June 30th, 2018, and schedule public hearings for the May 15th, 2017 City Commission meeting.
Okay, thank you. City Manager Turner.
Thank you, Mayor. Section 8.2 of the City Charter provides that the City Manager will submit a budget to the City Commission on the third Monday in April of each year. Accordingly, on Monday, April 17th, myself and City Administration submitted a budget for both the 2017-2018 and the 2018-2019 fiscal years to the City Commission. The City Commission thereafter reviewed the budget at a work session held on Tuesday, April 18th. At this work session, individual commissioners were able to propose possible modifications to the budget. Any proposed modifications were evaluated by City Administration and included in a report for the full Commission's consideration at a special meeting held on April 24th. The Commission reviewed and discussed those proposed modifications to the recommended budget. The reconciled budget that came out of that meeting is being presented to the City Commission tonight, and the Commission can formally propose the budget for adoption and schedule the necessary public hearings for the May 15th meeting, during which time the budget may be adopted, following necessary public hearings. The recommended budget is a result of efforts by City Administration dating back to November 2016. In February, the City Commission held a goal-setting session to identify any specific priorities for consideration in the budget development process. These goals are addressed within the budget message. As such, the budget is developed through a rigorous process that requires numerous hours from the City Commission as well as City Administration. The 2017-18 fiscal year recommended budget estimates the City will retain an approximate general fund balance of about $2,494,400, including an estimated unreserved fund balance just exceeding $546,000. There are very comparable figures for the 2019 fiscal year, which have been conceptually developed. Critically, the unrestricted fund balance is estimated to be above the parameters of the City's minimum fund balance policy, which calls for a 15 to 20% minimum fund balance, with both fiscal years projected to have unrestricted fund balance at 21.7% for both years. City Administration concurrently is aware of trends that must be evaluated and monitored within the next 3 to 5 years to sustain the City's overall fiscal strength. Specifically, the general fund is now assuming a significant portion of the debt associated with the construction of the Osborne Boulevard parking structure. Additionally, the major and local street funds continue to require funding from other funding sources. Recent legislation regarding transportation has been a positive step, but the recovery of necessary funds for appropriate road maintenance will take a healthier amount of time to acquire. Similarly, the Downtown Tax Increment Financing Authority districts and parking structure funds continue to be monitored closely. Some significant issues that have arisen have been the flat property values the City has experienced since the 2008 fiscal year and a more pronounced decrease of the values within the districts in recent years. However, despite these challenges, the City is continuing to invest in critical capital equipment and infrastructure improvement projects. Additionally, the Police and Fire Pension Board has initiated a number of positive changes and assumptions that will, in the long run, help to stabilize the pension fund. The assumptions do require additional millage support for the fund, with the proposed budget including an increase just under 0.12 mils. Significantly, these changes are beginning to generate benefits, as the funding level for the Police Fire Pension Fund has maintained its funding level over the past 2 years at 56%, which represents an increase from past funding levels ranging between 48 and 50%. As well, there have been significant amount of attention given to the long-term legacy cost of the City of Sault Ste. Marie's Municipal Employees Retirement System of Michigan pension program, which covers general, administrative, clerical, and Department of Public Works staff. The program will be monitored closely within coming years. Up until 2003, the MERS pension plan was funded in excess of 100%. However, with the recession of 2008, the investment market downturn propelled the funding level down to 89%, and since that time has decreased to 71%. The assumption with the most significant impact on the valuation is the assumed rate of return. Over time, MERS has reduced this to 7.75%. In conjunction with other changes, the city's annual required contributions to MERS are expected to increase from $681,000 across all funds during the 2018 fiscal year to about $1.2 million across all funds during the 2023 fiscal year, representing a nearly 76% increase in annual required contributions. However, it's a phenomenon that is not only affecting the city of Sault Ste. Marie, but is also affecting a substantial number of municipalities throughout the state of Michigan. It should be noted that in 2012, a new and less costly retirement benefit package was created for employees hired after certain dates. While the cost savings are not immediately realized, it has been a proactive measure that will help with future cost containment. These challenges are framed by historic issues involving structural reductions in state revenue sharing. Revenue sharing has been an important source of revenue to fund general fund operations, such as police, fire, recreation, and other critical activities. The City of Sault Ste. Marie's revenue sharing peaked during the 2001 fiscal year, with revenue sharing equaling just over $2.1 million. However, for the coming fiscal year, it's projected to be just over $1.5 million, representing approximately a 30% decrease. Over 17 years, this is a drop in annual revenue through state revenue sharing to the City of Sault Ste. Marie of around $595,000 without considering inflation. Critically, it's estimated that the city has lost about $6.5 million in total revenue sharing since these cuts were aggressively implemented by the state within the past 15 years, a time during which its budget almost doubled. To emphasize this point, according to a study from the Michigan State University since 2002, the state of Michigan has led the nation in cuts to municipalities. The Census of Governments, published every 5 years by the U.S. Census Bureau, reported that from 2002 to 2012, municipal revenue from state sources increased in 45 states, and the average increase was 48.1%. In contrast, in Michigan, municipal revenue from state sources declined almost 57% during the same time period. In recent years, the city has taken a number of proactive steps to address such fiscal constraints. The city and its 7 bargaining units negotiated certain thresholds for the city's health care costs for its plans. This has accomplished 2 things, the first being that it has stabilized the city's cost for health care coverage for its employees, and secondarily, it has directly involved the employees in charting the destiny of the city's health care costs. While it has increased the burden on employees with a greater share of their health care cost, the plan changes have undoubtedly saved a number of jobs within the city that would have been eliminated in order to pay for the ever-increasing health care cost. In addition to controlling these costs, the reduction in nearly 10% of the city's positions in 2004 has historically helped the city remain financially stable through the current fiscal year. From a historical standpoint, the city also instituted a second round of reductions, which reduced administrative and labor positions in the city during the 2012 fiscal year. However, as new challenges arise and fiscal pressures persist, particularly owing to issues such as the increase in MERS, staffing levels must carefully be monitored and appropriately structured to keep the city in its current position. For example, the proposed budget reflects the elimination of a human resources position, the duties of which have been absorbed by myself, the city attorney, and primarily and largely on a day-to-day basis, the deputy city manager. Based upon discussions held by the City Commission and administration during the budget development process, significant time will be directed toward additional strategic planning within the coming several months, particularly in regards to utility rates and transportation structures. Despite the detailed fiscal challenges that will continue to meet directly, the city is continuing to complete critical infrastructure improvements and purchase much-needed equipment to continue effectively servicing its citizens. Budgeted purchases include much-needed equipment for the police and fire departments, improvements to the Polar Community Building, Sherman Park, Project Playground, and Memorial Park, as well as Annie Osborne Campground, and utility-oriented and road maintenance-oriented equipment, such as meters, a bucket truck, and a plow truck. Additionally, the budget proposes the completion of critical capital infrastructure improvement projects, such as sidewalk replacements, the improvement of the West Easterday Corridor for non-motorized transportation, the Roundabout and Business Spur Improvement Project, preventative maintenance on the Bingham Street Bridge, the reconstruction of West 4th Avenue from Oak to Hyde, repairs to brick pavers downtown, the demolition of a dilapidated structure at the DPW yard, runway improvements at Sanderson Airport, and repairs at the George Kent Marina. Additionally, the proposed budget represents the City of Sault Ste. Marie's significant and continuing investments in downtown revitalization and placemaking. Resources have been directed toward planning for the celebration of the 350th anniversary of the French settlement of the city, participation in the Michigan Main Street program, the Redevelopment Ready Communities program, and the development of a form-based code, as well as the finalization of a master plan and the marketing for sale of various industrial and municipal parcels, the continuation of activities at the historic homes on Water Street, and the mooring of cruise ships within the community. Not only do these actions represent an intelligent investment of resources, for example, a vibrant downtown has been shown to improve overall municipal values and spur growth throughout the entire community, they also work to preserve the rich history and culture of the community. Finally, in regards to the budget, the Water and Sewer Fund is performing in accordance with expectations, but consumption continues to decline. There is a moderate increase proposed in water and sewer rates for the next fiscal year. The rate increase for customers using 700 cubic feet of water a month is approximately 4.4% more than last year's rates. Rates will be evaluated during the next budget cycle, and as noted prior, will be comprehensively reviewed through a utility rate assessment. In conclusion, I'd like to thank everyone involved in the development of the budget for the current fiscal year as well as the next 2 fiscal years. In particular, Finance Director Collins for her efforts and constant dedication to a fiscally prudent municipal operation, as well as the department heads and employees engaged in this process and the Deputy City Manager. Finally, the administration appreciates the work of former City Commissioner Munsell, as well as the City Commission throughout this lengthy process, which has spanned several months. Accordingly, I have several recommendations. The first, that the City Commission formally introduce for adoption the proposed budget for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2017 and ending June 30, 2018, including proposed tax levies, utility rates, fee schedules, and general appropriations with capital outlay and equipment purchases. Second, to receive and introduce the budget as conceptually proposed for the 2019 fiscal year. Third, to schedule a public hearing for the Monday, May 15th City Commission meeting on a final resolution for purposes of establishing a 2017 tax levy, maintaining the millage for charter operations at 16.8139 mils, maintaining the millage for waste collection at 0.5632 mils, and increasing the millage for the Police Fire Pension Fund by 0.1179 mils to 5.4502 mils in order to meet actuarial requirements for the fund. Fourth, to schedule a public hearing for Monday, May 15th, the Commission chambers on the adoption of water and sewer rates for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2017 and ending June 30, 2018, that would thereby establish rates for monthly administrative charges, commodity charges, and capital charges for water and sewer users. Fifth, to schedule a public hearing for the Monday, May 15th meeting on a resolution adopting a fee schedule for the fiscal year beginning July 1st and ending June 30, 2018, that establishes various fees as set forth by the City Commission. And finally, schedule a public hearing for Monday, May 15th at the Commission meeting on the General Appropriations Act for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2017 and ending June 30, 2018, projecting revenues and establishing appropriations for various governmental functions in the city's operating funds, as well as proposed equipment purchases and capital outlay projects. Thank you, Mayor and Commission.
Okay, thank you, City Manager Turner, for that lengthy and very worthwhile recommendation. There, as we can see going forward, we have spent, and certainly the city administration has spent an awful lot of time putting this budget together and now looking at a 2-year forecast and budget. There are 6 recommendations, and in discussion with the city attorney, we can take 1 and 2 together, and then 3 through 6 can be also together. Commissioner Gary, would you like to do that?
I would make a motion to introduce for adoption the proposed budget for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2017 and ending June 30th, 2018, and receive and introduce the budget as conceptually proposed for the 2018-19 fiscal year.
Support.
It's been moved, supported. Are there any questions? I think just noting that we'll have some time for discussion at the May 15th meeting. Again, going forward, there are certainly areas where we are concerned and the administration are concerned, and we're talking as a commission about having another blue ribbon committee. I believe we put that together. Some of us were here in 2003 or 4. Had a blue ribbon committee meeting for about 6 months or so, and those guiding principles that were established then we still use today. So that was certainly a worthy project, and going forward we'll probably be looking into doing similar things, because when you look at the MERS situation, and that just has come up this year, that we've become aware of it as a commission, and that is part of our legislative priorities that we have given in writing to our state legislators, along with certainly state revenue sharing, and they know, and we're not alone as a city. A lot of other cities are facing these same daunting tasks of trying to balance a budget and stay in the black, with others, telling you what should be in different funds and stuff, and we're certainly affected by all of that going forward. So, Commissioner Gage.
And I'll talk more about this at the May 15th meeting, but it's sad to see the historic low in revenue sharing. And when you look at some of the challenges that our state is facing, every one of them ties back to municipalities and infrastructure, whether it's the Flint water crisis or Detroit or this and that. And it's sad that we haven't figured out necessarily as a state, as demonstrated by the fact that revenue sharing is as low as it is, that the health and vitality of a state and anything is a community. All politics is local, and without having a revenue stream coming in to help offset the property tax costs and things like that, we're forced to make very difficult decisions. And it's sad that so many legislators don't simply get it, and it's incredibly frustrating.
Commissioner Tuarte?
Yeah, just coming on the coattails of that, I found it, because that continues to be on our legislative priorities, and when we were sitting down at the Capitol this year in our representatives' offices, and I can't remember if it was Representative Chatfield or Wayne Schmidt who said to us, you know what, revenue sharing is something in the past, and you can basically not even put it on here anymore. And so that is very frightening, because it is one of the ways that the city can continue, and any municipality can continue to flourish and put more money back into their infrastructure. And if that sharing isn't coming back to you from the state, it is a daunting task to try and balance a worksheet.
Mm-hmm. Very, very difficult one. I think the number was almost $6.5 million over those years of the reductions. That's a huge amount of money in anybody's budget, let alone the city of Sault Ste. Marie. So we certainly thank the employees that have been gracious in being able to work with the different unions to do what we are able to do now and still maintain our ratios that as a commission were set several years ago, and we continue to hit those benchmarks, and going forward, I'm certain that we will continue to hit those, but certainly the administration has certainly accommodation from the city commission and the rest of our fellow citizens in continuing the task of balancing this budget and going forward and still providing services that we're able to provide and do the kind of things that we're able to do as a city to move forward. So we certainly appreciate that. We have anyone else? We have a motion and support for 1 and 2. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Gage?
Yes.
Commissioner Gary?
Yes.
Commissioner Lynn?
Yes.
Commissioner Tuarte?
Yes.
Mayor Bosmas?
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer?
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you. Commissioner Gary?
I make a motion to schedule a public hearing for Monday, May 15th at 7 p.m. in the City Commission chambers on a final resolution for purposes of establishing a 2017 tax levy.
And the other one.
Okay, this,
At all.
that takes care of
The
all.
city manager went through all of the
Okay,
numbers.
okay.
Support.
Then move supported, items 3 through 6. Question, Commissioner Tuarte?
Yeah, just one comment. So, and I was going to make it before, but I wanted to wait until we got to this motion.
Sure.
So it is important to note that people's millage or taxes are only going up by 0.1179 on an annual basis. So that millage is only going up from 5.3323 to 5.4502, and that's just for the police and fire pension fund. And because I've heard a lot of stuff, and I've seen a lot of fear on Facebook about people's taxes going up drastically, and it's not too bad. So I do have to congratulate Oliver and the rest of the administration on really tightening things in and being able to only increase things ever so slightly. And then water and sewer rates, of course.
Yeah, it's this commission, as well as other commissions, do not like to raise taxes anytime, and because of the combined sewer overflow program, I think we all have to go back in history a bit and remember that in 2003, the city was going to be fined, I believe, $32,000 a day, because we had 12 locations dumping into the St. Mary's River on heavy rainfalls and included sewage, so we had no choice. I know Commissioner Lynn was here at the start, and I think I've been the only one here through the whole process. It was something that we didn't want to do, but we're forced to do, and we've been paying as a community by homes and residents, paying taxes and, well, using water and the sewer rates through that whole process for that 22-year period coming up on 2018. We will be completed with that project. Streets and roads are never done, as I was told, so the street base will hopefully always be there, so that we'll be doing resurfacing and stuff, but we should never have to worry about disconnecting the different flows, though, the sewage flows or the sanitary sewer flows. So that will have been done to the tune of about $50 million plus. And we were able to do the roadways at the same time, so we certainly appreciate the community support going forward in this, and every homeowner had to pay X amount of dollars over a 10-year period to make this happen, and we're finally coming to an end. And as we do over that life of these bonds, it starts being paid for, so maybe not some of our lifetimes, but in other lifetimes, that will start reducing the amount of cost, and the water rates will actually start coming back down. There'll always be infrastructure improvements that'll happen, but it'll never be to the point that we've had to do in the last 22 years in 2018. I know Commissioner Lynn, you might want to comment also. It's been a huge elephant on our backs.
I can remember when that happened, and it was passed by Congress and signed by the President, and there was no money available.
No. So an unfunded mandate?
It was unfunded mandate for sure. Mm-hmm. And at the time, I know there was a lot of people upset over it, but we did end up with some really good roads that we're not going to have to do every 3 or 4 years. Mm-hmm. Life maybe 20 years on the ones that we did. And the other thing I like to bring up is, with all the money that we lost through revenue sharing, millions of dollars, we never had a layoff in the city. We did it through attrition. People retired. If we could get away without replacing them, that's what we did.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Anyone else? We have a motion and support. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Gary?
Yes.
Commissioner Lynn?
Yes.
Commissioner Twardy?
Yes.
Mayor Bosmas?
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer?
Yes.
Commissioner Gage?
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you.
Make a motion to schedule a public hearing for Monday, May 15th at 7 p.m. in the City Commission chambers on the adoption of the water and sewer rates for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2017 and ending June 30th, 2018.
Support.
I thought we took care of all these.
Yeah.
I think we did.
Yeah. From 3 through 6. Okay.
Gotcha.
Could you wake
That's
him?
that's why I was wondering when you stopped at 3.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought you were doing them all individually.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about the mills.
Okay.
Okay, perfect.
So 3 through 6 has been done. Okay.
Done.
Okay.
Well, there's a motion.
We're moving on to
Item number 6, communications. A is from Trident, presentation of the 2016 annual report.
okay, thank you. And certainly tonight we're pleased to have with us the Sheriff, Mike Bittner of Chippewa County. Certainly congratulate Mike. I think it's the first time we've seen Sheriff Bittner since he was elected or appointed to the
Thank you.
position.
We had, at one of our last Trident Executive Board meetings, we discussed doing a 2016 annual report, similar to reports that we had with prior drug teams. And I was lucky enough to get tasked with putting it together, which wasn't all that hard. I just got a hold of our local task force, our team leader. We got together. This year we physically went case by case, every individual, to get our stats. We now have spreadsheets, so the next years are going to be much easier for me. It won't take me a whole day. I see you have a lot going on yet, so I'm going to make it somewhat brief and then offer it up if any of you have any questions to email me, call me, get a hold of Chief Riley. So real quick, 2016, Trident, as you know, is conducted of 5 full-time detectives, one from your agency, one from mine. They investigated 130 complaints in 2016, 123 of which were here in this county. That involved in the city, out in the county, on a Sault tribe reservation property, as well as Bay Mills. Quite often people think of the task force as just doing drug buys. They go out and buy drugs to get a warrant. And in fact, they do a whole lot more than that. They go out and run surveillance. They interview witnesses and suspects. They develop informants. They network with all the local agencies who have, you know, the pulse. Your city guys have the pulse of what's going on in the city, so they get a lot of information there. They execute a lot of search warrants, so it goes way past just going out and buying drugs. In 2016, however, Trident made 148 drug purchases as a whole. We do have a breakdown. I believe most of you probably had that emailed to you. Let's see, I will skip around to arrests and warrants. Trident arrested 84 suspects in 2016, and most of which had multiple felony counts. They arrested 84. They had several more arrest warrants that were in lien that the people hadn't been picked up yet. And since then, well, let's just say they've been really busy since January 1st. The total charges, if you do look at the drug purchase compared to the total charges, you will see a very big difference on the type of drugs. For instance, the total criminal drug charges for the year, I know there's a lot of controversy. I'm not here to talk about marijuana, but I do want to point out the fact that out of 267 criminal charges, only 23 of those were marijuana related. That's only 8% of the total charges against these 84 people. You compare that to meth lab charges, which was 37%. Move on to search warrants. Besides all the drug buys and surveillance, they conducted 57 search warrants in the Tri-County area, most of which were here in Chippewa County. And those search warrants, obviously, you know the ones that they'll go do a search warrant at a house, might hit a garage or barn, but they also do them on vehicles, boats. And they have to do search warrants on every phone or computer they seize that they think may have evidence on it. So they're very, very busy. As you go along and check the significant cases, there are numerous cases, most of which deal with anywhere from 6 to 10 people, which is very common. We call them like drug rings. Very rarely are you going to have somebody dealing heroin in your city who's just a person, one person. They always have multiple people involved. One thing I would like to do is thank Chief Riley. When we first started thinking about organizing, before we even knew it was going to be called Trident, his vision to help put this together, and then to thank you, whoever was on the board at that time. I'm not sure who all is new, but to support him on that. This board and my county board, this wouldn't be possible if the two boards wouldn't have come together. I will kind of leave you on this. These detectives are making a very big difference I talked to the team leader just the other day. It goes in streaks. But heroin for a little while was so prevalent they were almost buying it on a daily basis. They have since, one heroin ring in particular was directly, the main group was right here in the city. The main person in that group is now in the care of the MBOC. What I got back from the team was they're finding it hard to find heroin at this moment. Not to say that somebody else isn't going to pick up the slack. But they're very busy buying other stuff and investigating other things, but heroin came from a weekly purchase now to where it's getting hard to find. So they are making a difference, and I want to thank you very much. That's all I have.
Mike, Sheriff, if you'd just like to mention the 5 organizations that make up Trident, I think that's important.
Yeah, besides the sheriff's office and the city police, the other local agency, Sault Tribe Police Department, has a full-time detective. And then we have 2 federal partners, being up at U.S. Customs and U.S. Border Patrol. They have designated, we have 5 full-time detectives who are partners working as a team. And we have put trainings on where we've cross-trained all of our detectives, all the city detectives, more custom agents, more border patrol agents, and almost all of my deputies working the road are cross-trained. So at any point in time where they need an extra hand, or they're going to do multiple search warrants at once, or they're just short a few people, we have a big pool of people who are trained and ready to go to help them. So,
Thank you. And you also accept donations, I understand.
yeah, we always accept donations.
Yeah.
Anybody, any individual or a business who wants, get a hold of Chief Riley or myself.
And you also work close with the Families Against Narcotics.
Very much so.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, best
If you
wishes
have
to
any
you.
questions, just get with me or the chief. All right?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to call up Chief Riley and just give us a quick review or just a quick statement about what's coming up on May 18th. And we'll also be meeting on the 15th, so we'll talk a little more about that, but just to give the community an activity coming up on May 18th, I think we should start publicizing and making sure that we have a good crowd.
That's correct, Your Honor. We've got posters all over town, all the law enforcement agencies and everything. The Upper Peninsula law enforcement agencies got together. Mike, when did they start this? 79? Long time ago. And they have a memorial ceremony that travels around the UP. And different regions, counties sponsor it. It's our turn this year. It's a UP Police Memorial ceremony for fallen officers from the UP and Ontario. And on the west side, they get some from Wisconsin. There's a vehicle procession that starts at 10 o'clock a.m., starts at the Army National Guard. We'll go down Portage to Ashman to Easter Day and end up at LSSU Sisler Center. Those are all law enforcement vehicles only. Again, this is May 18th. Once we get to the Sisler Center at the ice rink, at 11 o'clock the services will start. The ceremony will start. Officers will march in and we'll start the ceremony. Donations are accepted. There's no taxes or anything that pays for this, but there's a fund that floats around with the ceremony around the UP, and it survives on donations, the sale of $2 wristbands. Donations are accepted by any law enforcement agency in the area, the tribe, the sheriff's office, MSP. And we're also selling $2 wristbands for UP Memorial. You can get those at any law enforcement agency, and the clerk's office has some of those too.
Excellent. Okay.
Thank you, Mayor.
very much. We'll see you on the 15th.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Item B under communications is from Tracy Holt, update on No Kid Hungry program in Chippewa County Family Project.
So I'd like to welcome Tracy here tonight. Very busy individual.
Well, good evening. Thank you, Mayor Boskus and Commissioners, for allowing me to come and present to you briefly tonight on some new initiatives that are coming to the community in the upcoming year. First of all, I'd like to talk a little bit about the Chippewa County Family Project. Many of you may be aware that we just purchased 8.29 acres of property on 3 Mile from the Seward Public Schools. to construct 3 homes for area teens ages 14 to 18 who are in the foster care system. We have done some extensive research over the past year and a half and found that we have several students in the area who are considered couch surfers. In December, there were 66 students who had no place to live. Many of these kids just really don't have an opportunity because their parents made poor choices, not that they have done anything wrong. And we found that several of them are getting placed outside of the EUP, away from their other family members and friends, the community. Some are being placed in detention centers when, again, they've done nothing wrong, but there's nowhere to put them. Most people in the community will not take a teen in their home. They think that, that they've done something bad. They could bring harm to their families. There's just that insecurity. So we believe that these kids really deserve to have a shot at a decent life and to remain in the community with the support systems in place to make sure that they're successful. What we propose to do is build 3 homes. There'll be 2 6-bed homes for 6 females and 1 for 6 males. And the third is going to be a crisis home for emergency placement. So if a family of 3 are removed from a home and they're not able to find placement right away, what oftentimes happens is they're sitting in with a caseworker who's on the phone begging for families to take these kids in, but most people in the area are not licensed to take all 3 of them, so they end up being split up. So we said it's bad enough that they're being removed from their home, but then they're being separated from each other as well. So we want to act as an emergency shelter home for as long as it takes to find other family members who are able to take the children in, as opposed to having them split up during such a traumatic time in their lives. We are partnering with many agencies throughout the area for mentorship. So for the teens that are the 14 to 18, we want to make sure that they are successful. They have to complete their high school education. We want to give them the opportunity if they want to be involved in other organizations. How can we help them do that? How can we help them go on to further their education if they want to get a college degree, or to help them just be successful once they turn 18, get into the workforce and want to move out on their own. But we don't want to just leave them once they turn 18 and say that they're on their own. We want to put a support system in place so that they can be successful for many years down the road. And we also want them to feel that they are a viable part of the community and that they have the support and that they'll always have a family that they can come home to. A huge issue in this area right now, and we have just said that we can either sit back and just continue to listen to the horror stories and the issues at hand, or we can step up and finally do something to make a difference. We know we're not going to be able to help all the kids, but we're going to do our best to try and help the ones that we can for many years to come. Right now, now that we have the property, we are going after grant funding to support that. So this is nothing that we're going to be coming to the community members asking for financial assistance to. The only thing that we'll be looking at is just to please not label these kids. They're good kids. They just need our help and our support. Our second initiative that we are launching May 15th is our No Kids Hungry program. And we are partnering with some officials from the Sawyer schools, and the Chippewa County Sunrise Rotary Club have joined forces, and we're going to start providing hot meals for our needy kids in the summertime. Once again, we've done some research, and it is astonishing how many numbers of children in this community are going hungry. I'm not talking just high school and middle school students. This is elementary students all the way down to preschoolers who are going hungry every day. This initiative will be launched starting June 19th. It'll be run for 6 weeks, every Monday through Thursday from 11 to 11:45 at Lincoln School. Any child 18 or under can come and get a hot meal for free. It does not matter which school they go to, where they're from. They can be from outside of the area. They can be from downstate visiting. It can be daycare providers. We will be launching this so that everybody in the community is aware of this service. And we chose Lincoln School because that is, the hub of the community. And 70% of the students at Lincoln School right now are on free and reduced lunch. 50% of our entire school district is on free and reduced lunch, and that does not include the ones who have not filled out the applications. Again, we've gone into the schools, met with a lot of the the lunch servers, gone down to the preschool programs to really find out firsthand what the need is. And we have quite an epidemic coming up in this community, and we need to stand strong and stand together to help these kids out. The whole program itself is $16,000 to launch, and so far we've secured $8,000 in grant funding, and I'm very confident that we will get the rest. We have other organizations that are stepping up and helping out with that. And we will have volunteers that will be there assisting to supervise, and some of the service organizations within the community are going to actually volunteer and provide activities afterwards for an hour. So not only can the students come and get a hot meal, but maybe they can play kickball afterwards, do arts and crafts, kind of an enticement for them to be there again at no charge. We're hoping that this is something that will continue year after year, and we will be reimbursed $3.83 federally, and that is what's going to be our sustainability in the future. So we're going to come up with all the funds for this year, and at the end of the program, for every child that we feed, we will get reimbursed for that. We already have 100 kids who will be signed up for the program, and that includes your high school kids who are there for summer school, and then some of the elementary initiatives that they have in place. So we are looking at potentially a couple hundred kids per day that we will be feeding a hot meal to. There are no restrictions. Again, they can just come, and we're going to make sure that they're fed. And from that, we're looking at going into another backpack program so that once school starts, the most needy kids who are truly going home every day hungry can be going home with a sack supper, so that we know that, you know, they're getting something when they leave. This is not a school problem. This is a community problem. And again, there's several people that are coming together to tackle this head on, to try and stop this and come up with something that we can really be proud of and help these kids out.
Thank you very much for coming and explaining those two programs tonight, but we know your full-time job is Director of Hospice, and we know what that has done in this community, and you certainly be commended for the work that you continue to do. Just tremendous. What's the old saying? If you want something done, ask a busy person. So there's no question. So good luck with that, and I'm sure it's going to happen, and there's no question there's children out there that need help, and we're glad you stepped forward.
Oh, thank you, but there's a lot of other people that are
Sure.
behind this, and
That's the way
I
it works,
couldn't
right?
get it done if I didn't have people who knew a lot more than I do.
Yeah.
Great.
I just-
Commissioner Twardy?
Thank you. It's been amazing watching this whole program evolve over the last 5 or 6 years. I feel like Sandy Corbier was one of the pivotal people right in the beginning at Malcolm School who was realizing that she had a handful of students who were couch surfers. And the way that the community was coming out, and we were donating food on a weekly basis too for the weekend backpack program, because they can't imagine kids going home for the weekend hungry and not knowing where they're going to be sleeping. And so just for the community to get involved, and thank you for taking a leadership role. I know it takes a village, and you have probably a ton of people who are helping you out, but so just remind us though that we always have the Sioux Area Public Schools food pantry that people can always make a donation to on a daily basis, correct?
That's right, and even the Meet Up, Eat Up for the Summer Meals program is now on the Sioux Area Schools website, so people can go to the website and get more information, and if they do want to make a donation online, they can do that as well.
Okay, and school supplies, I mean, all that type clothing, certain clothing, right, is also accepted anymore, or not?
That's
that so
done
much?
through the schools and other
Okay,
programs, not
okay,
as part of this
okay.
one.
All right, well, thank you so much for coming.
Any other questions? Or thank you very much, Trace.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and to item number 7, the city manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor and Commission. Item A under the City Manager's report would provide for the award of a bid for the purchase and financing of a combination sewer truck. On this matter, DPW Director Morrow is planning to present to the Commission.
Evening, Jim.
Good evening. Our combination sewer truck is the most expensive and most important part of our piece of DPW rolling stock. We use it almost every day. You know, we clean sewers with it, tanks at both treatment plants, culverts. We excavate water main breaks with it, and sewer breaks, and it's used virtually every day. It has, we need it operational all the time. Now that our unit is 13 years old now, it's ready for replacement. It's still functional, but its maintenance costs are getting up there, and it's still worth a little something on a trade-in. So now's the time that we really need to get rid of it. Since 1989, we've used the Vactor brand. When you say Vactor is kind of the Kleenex of combination sewer trucks. They were really the only show in town for probably 15 years minimum, probably more than that even. But since then, we've been doing some research, and there's probably 6 or 7 brands out there, 6 quality brands that make these trucks now. So we did our research, and we contacted 6 manufacturers of these trucks, and we received an immediate reply on 4 of them. One vendor did not return our email, and one was about 2 weeks afterwards, and we kind of didn't invite him for a demo simply because it's a $400,000 truck, and when we need it working, we want our warranty work done now. It just seemed like they were kind of haphazard in their way of responding to us. Anyway, so we invited those 4 vendors up to the Sioux so we could use their equipment and go over them. Again, a very expensive piece of equipment. We want to get it done right. So 3 of them came to the Sioux, and we found that one had a relatively new truck in Ishpeming. The city of Ishpeming has a certain brand. It's called the VACAL. I sent 2 of our crew over there to check it out, and they found it just wouldn't meet our needs. So we kind of took that one out of the picture. But after demoing these three separate trucks, the Aquatech, the Vactor, and the Gapvacs, we really found that none of them were really head and shoulders above the other. They all were very quality trucks, and they'd be welcome in our fleet. Each had its own advantage and disadvantages, but all in all, they were quality machines that would work well for us for at least a decade. So we wrote from the information we gained from the demos, we wrote a very detailed set of specs, and detailing each part of the truck. And there's like 12 or 13 different parts of the truck that we wanted to specify in these specifications. Yeah. Anyway, and we also put some line items in. There's a number of items that we wanted to list that we didn't know the cost of them, and we didn't want to. We wanted the ability to take those out of the bid if they were too expensive. One is a hydro excavation kit, and that's kind of a new technology that a lot of sewer trucks are using. A lot of cities are using. It's like a giant. We use the vacuum system on it to excavate around like gas lines, fiber lines, cable lines. There's so much stuff being bored in the ground right now. You see boring companies all over town. And it varies in grade between like 1.5 feet deep down to 6 feet deep now. And it's so tight that we can't use our backhoe anymore. So what we're doing, we're using this piece of equipment to excavate so we don't break this stuff. Those gas leaks you hear all the time, shutting down jobs and evacuating parts of town. With this piece of equipment, we won't have that problem anymore if used properly. Anyway, and some other line items. One was color. A lot of colors, the standard color on some are like, one is a bright lime green. So we just want to know how much it would cost to paint either blue or white. And one of them was pretty expensive. I had no idea. It could have been 10 grand for all I knew. One was like $3,500. So anyway. So we wanted these line items to find out just exactly how much money we're dealing with. Anyway, said and done, we issued the RFP, and we got 4 bids. One was from a company that didn't respond in time, and after looking at their stuff, it wouldn't have met specs anyway. But of the 3 brands, the Aquatech, the Vactor, and the Gapvacs, they were all relatively close in base price, but the Gapvacs gave us an extremely good price for our 2004 Vactor, where the Vactor company gave us $10,000 for it. Gapvacs is giving us, well, their company, MTech company, is giving us $50,000 for it. So it really boils down to money on this. The 3 trucks are quality machines. It really boils down to who's going to give us the best price, both in the base price and in the trade-in for our truck. So I would recommend, after extensive research and use, that we purchase the Gapvacs for a total price of $409,800 minus the $50,000 trade-in we're going to get for our 2004 Vactor for a net cost of $359,800. and we have $405,000 budgeted for this purchase.
Okay. City Manager, you have some additional information?
I do, and I appreciate the
Yeah.
departments and Mr. Morrow's exhaustive research on this, and as well the efforts of Finance Director Collins in reviewing potential financing for this. City Administration is recommending the use of an installment purchase contract for this. Administration did compare options between the vendor financing and also solicited requests for responses from our local lending institutions, and MBank responded with the best offering of 1.75%. There is a second recommendation within the memorandum, and there is a recommended modification to that so that it would be worded to authorize city administration to execute an installment purchase contract with the vendor utilizing MBank in the amount of $360,000 at a rate of 1.75%. But certainly, as the director mentioned, it's a very critical piece of equipment for the fleet, serves a multitude of purposes, and just appreciate his efforts and the finance department's efforts on this. And as a note, the financing would come back for, right now, it needs a bit more further development, but we are requesting this authorization. It would come back for final approval at a future meeting, likely the next meeting.
Okay, thank you. There are two recommendations. City Attorney, does that cover the,
Two separate motions, probably.
your concerns?
Yes, the manager's correction to item 2 covers the concerns I had with the way it was originally worded.
Commissioner Bauer?
I wanted to echo a little bit what Ollie said as far as our appreciation, Jim, in all the work that you put into this, because all things being equal, if the Aquatech, the Vactor, and the Gap Vacs are all basically the same, I mean, $35,000 is not chump change. So, you know, to be able to save the city $35,000, or, you know, if you look at it versus the Vactor, which is what we're running with now, $50,000, that's huge. Really, that's more than 10% of the cost of the vehicle. And man, 13 years out of that, 13 years out of that Vactor. Who's your mechanic? I want him working on my nuts. Anyway, so moved the both city managers' recommendations, including financing through MBank, $360,000 at a rate of 1.75.
Support.
It's been moved, supported. Are there any questions? Commissioner Gage.
I'm just wondering if Oliver can maybe elaborate more why we're choosing to go for an installment purchase contract versus just cash, because I know that that's not, I mean.
First time in many years.
Right.
City Manager.
Right, thank you for that question, Commissioner. At this time, we are currently working to maintain appropriate fund balances within the utility reserves to accommodate for unforeseen potentialities in the future, further lost consumption, and unexpected expenses that may be of a critical nature to our infrastructure. So I know it is the first time in a number of years that an installment purchase contract instrument would be used for a more expensive piece of equipment. Typically, the city on smaller purchases would continue to purchase outright, but in order to maintain the balances within the reserves, it was a prudent action to take at this time.
And then just a follow-up.
Sure.
And if I remembered what he said earlier, we had to approve that at a later meeting, the actual terms of the contract?
Thank you for that question again. This would be one motion on this, and then it would come back for final approval,
Okay.
likely at the next meeting.
Cool.
Any other questions? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Lynn?
Yes.
Commissioner Twardy?
Yes.
Mayor Bosphus?
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer?
Yes.
Commissioner Gage?
Yes.
Commissioner Gary?
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you.
Item B, under City Manager's report, would provide for authorization to submit a 2017 Port Security Grant application for portable radio replacement. On this matter, Police Chief Riley is planning to present to the City Commission.
Okay. We'll keep the knee limbered up if we keep getting you up and down, and that'll stay
I'm gonna
good.
need another surgery, I'm telling you. And I'm just getting back from this one. Recently, well, while I was off in January, I was notified by Missy out at Central Dispatch that our portable radios that we're currently using, and not only ours, all the law enforcement in the area, by the end of 2018, they're no longer going to have parts made for them. The radios will still work till they break, and parts will be available until they run out. But it comes down to it that our current portable radios are going to be obsolete. We were given a estimated price, a quote from our retailer, Elcom. They're out in Marquette, roughly $50,000. And they told Missy that you need to replace these radios immediately. I contacted another Motorola dealer downstate who cannot sell to us. Motorola has areas for each retailer, and he's prohibited from selling to us. I just wanted some information. And what I was told is there's going to be enough parts to last about 10 years for these old radios, for everybody around the country. He said the only reason why you should go ahead and replace all of your radios, and we're looking at 16 right now, is if you can get a grant to do it. Other than that, just replace them as they go bad, because they are pricey. We're looking $50,000 just for the radios, but then we have to add $250 for programming per radio by the state of Michigan. So what we've done is we're looking at the port security grant by the Department of Homeland Security, run through the Coast Guard. I've been in contact with a Coast Guard individual. He can't help us write the grant, but he's a real good resource officer for us. The grant supposedly is going to be announced next month in May. There'll be a 25% match, so if we're looking $50,000, 25% of that. We're looking at the Motorola 4000 radio. Did a little research on the radio. It's smaller than what we currently carry, but it has the same features and capabilities. So basically what I'm here for this evening is to request permission to write the Department of Homeland Security Port Security Grant. Estimated cost right now is $50,000. If nothing changes, that's what I'll write it for, if and when it's announced. So I'm just looking for permission to write the grant at this time.
City Manager, anything in addition?
Nothing further, Mayor, Commission, just that I appreciate the department's efforts to obtain this material and equipment.
Any further questions or Chief? Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Commissioner Gage.
So move the manager's recommendation.
Support.
Any questions? Commissioner Twardy.
Thank you. So so this is just for the submission of the grant. If the grant gets denied, then we will then have an opportunity to take a look at purchasing.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, Chief. And there was a 25% match, I think I understood.
25% match if we get
If we were to get it.
What the commissioner was talking about, we have thought about that as well. If we don't get the grant, if we're denied the grant, I'll come back with a recommendation that we replace the radios 2 or 3 at a time per fiscal year.
Okay.
Until they're used up. And we already have a department head that's interested in the old radios once we replace the new ones.
DPW.
DPW.
Great,
So
thank you.
they're not going in the scrap heap.
Right, thank you. Anyone else? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Twardy?
Yes.
Mayor Bosphus?
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer?
Yes.
Commissioner Gage?
Yes.
Commissioner Gary?
Yes.
Commissioner Lynn?
Yes.
Motion carried, thank you.
Item C, under the city manager's report, would provide authorization for the city manager to execute the documents necessary to take possession of 606 Eureka Street and 629 Magazine Street from Chippewa County. As the Commission is aware, on January 3rd, the City Commission took formal action to condemn the residential structures located at 606 Eureka and 629 Magazine Streets. Following that action, the administration reached out to county administration with a request that the 2 properties be deeded to the city at no cost to the city, should they be taken back on taxes at the end of March, a request to which the county agreed. As anticipated, the back taxes on the 2 properties were not paid by the end of March, resulting in the county initiating foreclosure proceedings. Before being able to formally accept the properties, which is expected to occur sometime during the first 2 weeks of May, the City Commission must take formal action to approve the transfer of ownership from Chippewa County to the city. Once the transfer is complete, administration can begin the process of obtaining cost estimates for the remediation and removal of the structures for the Commission's review and approval at a meeting date in the future, expected to be within the June and July timeframe. Do appreciate the partnership of the county on this, the contribution of approximately over $9,000, and it's my recommendation that the City Commission authorize the city manager to execute documents necessary to transfer the properties at 606 Eureka Street and 629 Magazine Street from the ownership of Chippewa County to the ownership of the City of Sault Ste. Marie. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Twardy.
Thank you. I think what maybe is kind of exciting about this is we might actually have a couple of really nice city lots up for sale for new building in the near future, which would be nice. 2 houses, that would be twice as much as last year. I move that the City Commission authorize the city manager to execute documents necessary to transfer the properties at 606 Eureka Street and 629 Magazine Street from the ownership of Chippewa County to the ownership of the City of Sault Ste. Marie.
Support.
It's been moved, supported. Are there any questions? Commissioner Gage.
My other question, I see that we talked about it a little bit in the memo. Did we have an idea of which budget that's going to come out of?
City manager.
Thank you, Commissioner. That would actually come, it's anticipated to come from Fund 242, which is the Brownfield Fund. Those are local remediation funds that have been captured by the city from past brownfield projects, and in discussions with EDC Director Holt would come from those funds for the reinvestment in the property. So certainly there would be a process involving the brownfield administration, but appreciate their partnership.
So to make sure, to make a point, it's not coming from the general fund, then we've got a separate fund that can be used for that purpose.
Correct.
Very good.
Okay. Any other questions? Roll call, please.
Mayor Bospas?
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer?
Yes.
Commissioner Gage?
Yes.
Commissioner Gary?
Yes.
Commissioner Lynn?
Yes.
Commissioner Twardy?
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you.
That concludes the city manager's report. Thank you, Mayor and Commission.
Okay, thank you. Item number 8 is the status reports. City manager.
Thank you. So as a reminder, before voting tomorrow, if you previously voted at Washington School, you will now be voting at the Smart Zone building located at 2345 Meridian Street. And if you previously voted at Lincoln School, you will now be voting at St. Joseph Church located at 1101 Minneapolis Street. As a reminder, if you voted in the past at the Presbyterian Church, you will still be voting there. So certainly appreciate those sites allowing us to use them as polling locations. And if you have any questions, please call the office of the city clerk.
Okay. Any questions? Commissioner Gage.
Given that we've said that at every commission meeting since it's been announced, I am going to maybe lose my mind if somebody says that they weren't informed about that. Every single meeting.
And everyone was sent a postcard.
Every single one.
Right. Okay.
Item B, under status reports, is an update regarding the economic impact of Sanderson Field as well as upcoming projects. On this matter, EDC Director Holt is here to present to the Commission.
Evening, Jeff.
Good evening, Mayor, Commission, City Manager, Assistant City Manager. Thank you very much. I'd like to do a brief presentation or information on the economic impact of Sanderson Field, our city airport. In 2010, Michigan Air Tour visited Sanderson Field, studied the airport and the economic impact it has on our region. And they looked at 2 areas, 1 direct impact and 2 indirect impact. The direct impact are dollars that are brought into the community as a direct result of the airport, such as jobs, fuel sales, and money spent by visitors and pilots. And indirect are dollars that are generated by the presence of the airport, including the funds that the airport staff spends in the community, as well as business expansion and relocation. These 2 measures are then added together to form the total economic impact of our municipal airport. Based on the criteria, the economic impact of having our local airport is over $1.6 million by combining the 2 direct and indirect impacts. And we know that for a fact. We have a business developer that came into our town recently and opened 2 convenience stores, and they would have come here had that not been for the airport. And so we're pretty happy about that. The data you can see at our Sanderson Field is similar to Sheboygan's Airport, and our city's annual budget for the Sanderson Field is approximately $77,000, which covers the fixed-based operator contract, maintenance, repairs, and supplies. And funding capital improvements is made through TIFA 3. In saying that, our airport has had a huge return on investment for our community. Local and international business use it on a daily basis. We know that many aircraft clear customs through here because of the good service that we provide, and we like to think that our popcorn machine in the airport helps that effort out. I know it smells good. And you'll see in the packet that we had total aircraft in 2016 of over 1,000 aircraft that came into the airport with over 2,400 passengers. And those airplanes purchased over 12,000 gallons of fuel and 26,000 gallons of jet fuel. So they're gassing up here as well. We also have in plan for this year the infrastructure taking place on the overlay, which is anticipated to rejuvenate the life of the airport for the next 10 to 15 years. This material has been used at other airports with noted success in Cadillac, Sturgis, and Bel Air. And this project is due for construction after the Oshkosh flyover, which is a huge event in Wisconsin that, again, many of the aircraft clear customs through Sault Ste. Marie. And we'd like to gas them up and refer them downtown to eat, and then off away they go. In May 2016, the Airport Authority reviewed the project design, and in July 2016, the City Commission gave their final approval. In the fall of 2016, MDOT Aero followed suit. We now have a site selection for the staging area, which will be on Meridian across from our office, as to not disrupt the aircraft flow at the field. And I believe the city engineer helped us with that selection as well, the engineering office. The project is going to go for bid on May 5th. We had a pre-bid meeting on April 19th at the terminal, and three firms were present that have done work in our area. Bids are due electronically by the end of this week, and future plans are located at the MDOT bid site, and you can find that on the SiouxCity.com site. And transfer of funds is due to occur on May 24th, so we'll be all set financially. And with that, I can answer any questions, but that.
Any questions? Commissioner Twardy?
Thank you. More just a comment. I think it's great that you came tonight and you gave us an update on what the airport does and how it impacts our community, because I would assume there are a lot of people, and even last year I think it was, I had questions, and Commissioner Gary, I'm sorry, invited me to a board meeting to see what was the impact on the community and why was it so important for us to maintain this facility. And so I think it's, if you can come on a regular, not on a regular basis, but maybe once a year.
Well, he's here an awful lot.
Right,
so
I know. Just to give us like an update on and to what did the airport do for us specifically this year. And I know that I spoke to the Meyer folks, and they told me that that was instrumental for them, and that they were, when they're looking at building in different communities, one of the biggest things is community airport, or access to a local airport, so that they can get in, get out, and get their business taken care of quickly.
Well, and one thing we did, and thank you for those, one thing we did was last year we had a movie night up at the hangar, the Disney movie Airplane.
Yeah.
And not having little ones anymore, I hadn't seen it. And I think I enjoyed it as much as the kids did. And the following day, we were offering airplane rides for $25. And let me tell you, that was the best $25 I think I've spent in a long time. It was really amazing. I mean, it's pretty on the ground here, but up in the air, it's magnificent. And we're hoping to do that again this summer.
And could you just speak briefly about the air ambulance with War Memorial Hospital?
Yes, we're working on bringing the air ambulance service. All the T's have been crossed and the I's have been dotted for the airport, or the War Memorial Hospital. And they would like to build a terminal on our site, and they are bringing with them 5 jobs. They've been trying to hire locally, but it's a pretty specialized field, and it sounds to me that they're moving forward on that. We hope to have them up and running. They had wanted to start the air ambulance service by now. Looks like there'll be a few weeks delay, but it's moving forward. We have a temporary spot for the helicopter. It's a jet helicopter. We have a spot for them in the existing hangar. Not exactly ideal. It's a little crowded, but it'll do for now. And hopefully we can get the hangar built for them by the end of this construction season, but they better hurry.
Great. Thank you. Commissioner Gage.
I appreciate you talking about the air ambulance because, as far as I'm concerned, that's the most important part of having the city airport in our city open. And I know that when I first got on this board, and I'm sure that we've all at one point experienced that, where we're like, what's the point of having that? We've got an airport in Kinross, and it's not that far away. But talking to folks at War Memorial Hospital, one of the things I think is so important is that when it comes to those life flight situations, Kinross is only half an hour, but when seconds count and there's an airport only minutes away, that doesn't work. And having that resource there for our residents and being able to get out quick and get the medical attention you need is important. So hope to always remember that. When seconds count, it's only seconds away instead of minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions, comments? Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
That concludes the status report section of the agenda. Thank you, Mayor and Commission.
Okay, thank you. Item number 9 are matters presented by the public. Is there anyone in the audience who'd like to make a comment at this time? Okay, hearing none, we'll go to item number 10, matters presented by the City Commission. And just a comment, tomorrow is Election Day in the City of Sault Ste. Marie. One item for the Intermediate School District, as I understand it, a 3-county question on career and technical education millage. So we certainly encourage folks to vote tomorrow. The polls are open at 7 o'clock. Okay, thank you. City Commission. Commissioner Lynn.
Your Honor, I would so move we adjourn this meeting.
Support.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We are adjourned. Thank you very much.
I